The Rangers lose their first game of the season, and it's to the Winnipeg Jets by a final score of 4-1. Like I'd said going into the back-to-back with Minnesota and Winnipeg, this was going to be tough for the Rangers to win both. It ultimately was. The Rangers did play well for large stretches of this game, but there were also parts of this game where they weren't great. And it was going to be tough. The scheduling really didn't do them any favors. Playing initially against the Minnesota Wild team, playing their first game of the season, and thus their home opener. And same thing here at Winnipeg, their first game of the season and their home opener. So, didn't love that and felt like it was going to be tough to win both. On the bright side, Yaroslav Halak was really good. I thought he gave the Rangers a chance to win. It's only one game, but you feel better about him than you did with Alex Georgiev. Will that last? We'll see. But Halak, I thought, was really sharp. And I think that's the main positive that comes out of this. Thought the Rangers got off to a really slow start. First period was not great. Thought the Rangers were really, really good in the second. Had nothing to show for it. They tied up in the third. And then eventually they just ran out of gas. And what hurts is, Winnipeg takes the lead with about 4:25 left. And these were the types of games last year where the Rangers were they were at least finding a way to get it to overtime, banking the points, maximizing on the amount of points that they would get. So it's tough. It wasn't a heartbreaker by any means. Losing the first game of the season sucks, but, it was going to happen. And, nothing to be ashamed of either. Again, you win at Minnesota. You lose this game to Winnipeg. Connor Hellebuyck played a really, really good game. Hellebuyck made 40 saves. The Rangers 41 shots. The Rangers shot totals have been encouraging so far this season, but Hellebuyck really the story for Winnipeg more than anything. As I kind of alluded to in the last episode against Minnesota, was that you might see Halak over Zach Jones, and unfortunately we did. And really, Hayek, I'm just not a fan of him, honestly. He's not even a seventh defenseman. He's really not on a good team, at least. Like, on a good team, he's not a seventh defenseman. He's really, at best, an eighth, and really more so a guy that's kind of up and down between the AHL and the NHL. So, don't love that. I'd expect to see Zach Jones back in there next game. Sammy Blais was out again. Another one of the situations where I feel like he'll be back next game, especially because Ryan Carpenter, he left the game late in the second period. Kind of a scary situation. I think it was a skate blade that maybe cut him on the ear or somewhere near the ear, and he didn't return. So that's, a scary situation. You assume it's just where he needs to get stitched up or something to that effect, but you never know what that could be. So either way, I'd expect Blais in there. For me, Ryan Reeves is someone who I really hope is susceptible to not playing. I just don't think that he's giving you the best chance to win. I don't think so. So whether it's Carpenter or Reeves, I would expect Blais in there, and I don't think Dryden Hunt will be the healthiest scratch, in part because Dryden Hunt scored the one goal tonight, believe it or not. Hunt got the one Ranger goal. It was actually a pretty nice goal at that. But, like I said, I felt like the Rangers definitely got off to a slow start. And that was indicative on the shot counts. The Rangers were outshot 13-10 in the first and 14-10 in the third. But in the second, the Rangers outshot Winnipeg 21-7. Getting a lot of opportunities. I thought Lafreniere looked pretty good. I thought Kakko. I thought those two looked pretty sharp. Panarin, there was a breakaway chance for Panarin in the first. Unsuccessful. And so Panarin was slightly off tonight, timing-wise. But, not a game where the Rangers should be ashamed by their effort at all. Definitely did run out of gas towards the end. And, once they tied it up, I was hopeful maybe that they would get a point. It didn't happen. And so, let's talk about the game. First period, Dryden Hunt draws an early penalty. Rangers have chances early on this power play. Good zone time, but then Artemi Panarin takes a slashing penalty 44 seconds into the power play. This is where, after the Rangers kill off that penalty, Panarin has a breakaway chance and does not score. So it is, and then Winnipeg at 10:29 scores. It's Mark Scheifele with the goal. And assisted by Nikolai Ehlers and Josh Morrissey. So a bit of scrambling play by the Rangers leads to a nice opportunity there. I'm trying to think of the forward that was involved. That maybe, I don't know if it was Carpenter. The fourth line was on for that goal. I know that. And Lindgren and Fox were the defensive pair. Oh, you know what it was? It was a potential miss icing, where Carpenter seemed like he beat whoever it was on Winnipeg to the puck, or not even to the puck. It seemed like he got there first, and Winnipeg wins the battle, and Scheifele scores to make it 1-0. So we head to the second, and the Rangers really were the better team. Got a lot of opportunities and just could not get it by Hellebuyck. And then former Ranger Morgan Barron high six Mika Zibanejad. The Rangers have a lot of chances on this power play, and they also don't score. So the Rangers go 0 for 2 tonight on the power play. And then Philip Hedl, unfortunately, takes a late penalty in the second, but a good job of the Rangers in the third period to kill that off, so we remain 1-0. And then at 3:55, a really nice passing play. Panarin continues to get points. He gets an assist, gets it to Trocheck, who finds Dryden Hunt, and Hunt buries it to tie the game for the Rangers at 1. And the Rangers still at this point making some good things happen, but eventually the tide turns and Winnipeg starts to take over, and they would eventually score. And this is a play where Keandre Miller behind the net. This was after a really bad shift by the fourth line. Now, Carpenter's out of the game at this point, so I think it was some combination of Reeves, Hunt, and Goodrow with Braden Schneider and Halak, and that was not a good pair, Halak and Schneider. But eventually, they're all off the ice, and it's Miller comes on, and I believe it must have been, I think it was the Trocheck line. Yes, it was Panarin, Trocheck, and I guess Lafreniere. And I thought Trocheck was a little weak in front of the net defending, and also Panarin as well. And Sam Gagner, the veteran, scores. A second effort. Halak did all he could, and so Winnipeg takes the lead 2-1 with 4:25 left. And then former Winnipeg Jet Jacob Trouba with a big delay of game penalty at 17:26. It's going to be tough for me to really, and it's unfair. I was never the biggest Jacob Trouba fan, and last year he really came around. It was a good season for him, although the playoffs really pissed me off. And now he's captain. So there's more pressure. There's more unfair criticism. But Trouba back at Winnipeg takes a really bad delay of game penalty. So any chance the Rangers might have had was gone on that Trouba delay of game. And Winnipeg scores on that power play. It's the second goal of the night for Mark Scheifele. And that makes it 3-1, and then eventually you get an empty net goal by Kyle Connor, and it's a 4-1 win for the Winnipeg Jets. Connor Hellebuyck, like I said, 40 saves. I thought Halak did really well. He had 31 saves himself. And, Winnipeg gets it done. And so now the Rangers will head home to take on the Anaheim Ducks. And that will be interesting because that will be the return of Ryan Strome and to a lesser extent Frank Vetrano. So that'll be interesting in that sense. The Anaheim Ducks are going to be in town. They're taking on the New York Islanders a couple of nights before they play the Rangers. But hopefully the Rangers can get a little bit rested after this, a lot of games in a short amount of time to start the season. I would expect them to do, better. It appears to be not a terribly tough schedule this coming week. You have home against Anaheim, home against the Sharks, and home against Columbus. But a lot of off days in there as well. But, definitely a bit of a favorable week schedule-wise to the Rangers. So hopefully they can take advantage of it. The Rangers are now 2-1. That's fine. Especially, if you look at the schedule to start the season, 2-1's pretty good. It's kind of funny. You wouldn't have necessarily thought that this would have been the loss. But, Winnipeg, they might be a halfway decent team. Rick Bowness, actually, the new Winnipeg coach, was out due to COVID, so former Rangers assistant Scott Arniel was the acting head coach in this one, and he gets the W for Winnipeg. So again, Rangers fall to the Jets, and they will head home to take on the Anaheim Ducks.